Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here. A little bit more Firestone Walker up in this piece in the form of their Oaktoberfest. This is a oak aged lager. Yeah, this comes courtesy of Firestone Walker. Thank you very much. They've been generous with beers as of late. And I'm not going to lie to you. When this landed, I got kind of excited because I love this beer. So this is going to be a completely biased review unless this year's version is somehow completely different than previous year's version. Let's put it this way. I was like, man, do I really want to review this beer again? You know, because I love it so much. I've reviewed it at least once. No, I haven't reviewed it all. That happens from time to time because what happens is I end up, let me close my monitor because it looks better. Sometimes I pick up beer and I'm like, I remember liking it so much I know I've reviewed it. But yeah, sometimes I get them and they're too tasty. I just drink them rather than reviewing them. But this gives me pause to actually review the beer. So let's see. Let's go into this tempered expectations if we can. Firestone Walker Brewing Company. This is California Beer Company, Oaktoberfest Oak Aged Lager. Date, I'm not even going to look at it because they sent it. Oak Aged Lager, 5.2% alcohol by volume, brewed by Firestone Walker Brewing Company. That's all you really get in a can. Give it a pour, and I'll tell you a little bit about it. So it's an Oak Aged Lager. It's not unique. I've had those before. But like I said, this is just one of those ones that is super readily available for me, and one that, like I said, I buy every year. I haven't seen it on the shelves yet. It's actually not just when you calm down, get too excited here. When you think of oak aged lager, at least I do, I immediately go to a Foder. This is actually aged in Cabernet Sauvignon barrels, I believe. So red wine barrels. Now, I've never got a big vinous thing off this. I've definitely got like a toasted oakiness from it. So that was kind of curious for me to kind of figure out. Label-wise, it's pretty much what you'd want from an American brewery doing their version of a fest beer, and that it kind of looks the part of uber traditional, but it has its own spin on it. So we get down with it. So there you go. And beer wise, I mean, it looks the part of what you'd expect from like an Oktoberfest beer because it's, you know, it's got a slightly elevated beyond like typical fest beer in color, maybe a skosh above Vienna, South American kind of look to it. Has this nice, beautiful, very, very. I know I use a dimple mug and it sucks for y'all, but that's kind of what I like to drink these out of. Has this very, very, very champagne-like kind of carbonation. Kind of makes sense, you know, being from Venice wine barrels, and just a super creamy, fluffy head to it. So, I mean, it looks exactly, especially sitting in this mug, what I'd want from a fest beer. The only thing 5.2 I think it was. Yeah, I want this at like 1.2, just so I could drink 47 billion of them. But give it a whirl. Let's give this a nose. Yeah, it's like toasted cereal grains is probably the best way I could put it. And I think that's a marriage from all traditional kind of German ingredients, that nice kind of malt base, actually marrying with that kind of French vanilla kind of oakiness they use in those wine barrels. Yeah, big, nice toastiness. I think it's coming from both barrel and grain. A soft perception of sweetness, and not much outside of that. There's no big vinousness to it. There's no big kind of hop presence to it. It really is just this malt forward fest beer with this added little toasty graininess to it that I assume is coming from the barrel. It smells absolutely nice. Way bigger than 5.2%. Let's put it that way. Let's dive in. Cheers, y'all. It's just so good, man. Like I said, I was going to go into this review. I can't help but be biased because it's one of my seasonal chuggers. You know, pretty much, you know, there's a couple beers that come out every year that I'm like, I'm buying the crap out of this beer and drinking it. You're at a celebration, you know, a couple different beers. This is definitely when we're in, you know, here we are just a day away from September, so fest season is starting. Starts hitting the shelves. I buy the crap out of it, and I know why, because it has such a cool kind of combination of flavors that I think you could only get from a couple different things. One, Firestone Walker, they know what the hell they're doing, so they're going to make good beer. The lagering process, and this wine barrel, this oak barrel. I'll go more oak barrel, even though I'm trying to talk myself into a slight red grapiness to it. Very, very minimal. It just might be a little bit of kind of like wishful thinking, at least in my part. But man, let's pump the brakes. Again, we're getting a little bit too excited here. Start from the beginning. First thing I actually get is a combination of that toastiness, the nice cereal grain toastiness, with this really nice, slightly sharp bitterness. Again, it's south of what you'd expect from like a Czech style pills or anything like that. That kind of lager. It's more in line with what you'd expect an American would do with a fest beer, to where that's just dialed up just a skosh from what you typically get from a purely, strictly BJCP by the rules kind of, Euro, German, Austrian fest beer. So you get that nice kind of graininess, that little pop of sweetness. It's not a sweet beer, but a little pop of sweetness balanced with that nice kind of hop. Like, I was going to use the word sizzle. I don't know if I've ever said that before, but just a little hop kind of pitter pattering. There's a better one for you on your tongue. Everything immediately shifts to a mouthfeel thing here. So you're getting this cool trick of this super clean ferment, but then this softness on top of it. So you're not getting crispy boy status, but you're very, very close. But since you get that oak portion of the show, you get that wine barrel portion of the show, it has this softness in combination with this cleanliness. You rarely get those two together, especially when you're talking about a lager, or specifically outside of lagers, it's almost impossible, I should say, just lagers in general. But you get this combination of the two, so there has to be that barrel at play, rounding a bit of those edges, adding that vanilla, adding that little bit of kind of oak tanniness, like a little, not smoky oak, but a little bit of kind of like just woody oakiness to it. That just adds the softness to it that makes it uber drinkable and honestly insanely dangerous. And it's really impactful. I can sit here and poo-poo all over 5.2% all I want. That's traditional fest beer level strength. I'm not going to sit here kind of argue or complain that this isn't negative 5%, even though I wish it was. But where this one really kind of flips the script on you is that it gives you the combination of robust flavor. It is drinking leaps and bounds beyond that 5.2%. But since it does have that little bit of shaved edge, it does have that little oak tannin to it, it does have that softness to it, it drinks so easy, so it's not heavily weighted on the palate to where I think I got a sixer of this. They don't send on singles, they pretty much send out whatever comes in. And this sixer is not going to last long. That's my problem with this beer. The reason why I haven't reviewed it is just because I drink them too fast. That's going to happen again. But at least I got something on video this time, so I'm kind of impressed with myself. But yeah, honestly, going into this, I could have just been like, this beer is fantastic, see you later, bye. 3-second video, done and done. But it's cool to kind of experience these things on camera, especially when you really dig a beer, because a lot of people, I think, would perceive it as, and well, he already knows he likes his beer, so he's going to talk about how much he loves it. I think I kind of get myself a little bit too jazzed up for these, to where if these beers don't meet those expectations, I end up coming down off a little bit flat on them. I can be like, oh yeah, I really do like this beer. I never really sat here and kind of, talked about it, hashing out. But no, this is absolutely beat the expectations of what I remember. Again, it's been several months since it only comes out once a year, and this is my first foray into it this year, and just shows and proves on so many levels, from a brewery execution level to that just brewery execution lager level. I'm a little distracted. Watch my kid on the camera and make sure he's going to sleep okay. And just throwing that twist of that oakiness in that wine barrel is just master level deliciousness. And one of my favorite beers of the season. Honestly, it's one of those things where we're going to cut to the chase. This is one of the better lagers I've had as of late. Yes. Mount Rushmore status. Yes. This is kind of up there seasonally for me every year. I will buy a couple cases of these. Let's put it this way. This is going to be my go-to kind of drinking beer for the next month or two once it hits the shelves by me. And just say yes on Mount Rushmore status and valued availability. It's Firestone Walker. It's Oaktoberfest. I'm thinking these are coming in between $10 to $12 for a sixer all day, and leave you with, if you like, what way you like this. If you like all the words that tumbled out of my mouth. If you like lagers and you just want a little bit of a twist and a couple different levels, it's just bringing a lot of uber traditional, fest beer, German, Austrian level goodness with just that cool Firestone Walker twist of both hops and that barreling. that it's just honestly just one of the best chuggers of the season. So if you dig on chuggers, if you dig on lagers, and you like a little flavor in that mix, you can be hard pressed to find something better than this, honestly. So there you go, reviewing the books. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed. Massive Beers. If you want to check me out doing the social media stuff, Beer Massif, podcasting stuff. Firestone Walker, have you been to the brewery? Have you had their beers? Have you had this beer? Give me all your thoughts down below. Hopefully, you enjoyed the review. Hopefully, enjoying a little Oaktoberfest right now, or just any Oaktoberfest. We'll see you next time. Cheers, y'all.